was barely good enough for the queens to come into play and support the lurkers the way they did. I was really impressed because it was something you don't see too often, where the Protoss has the better economy, the Protoss has more bases, where Ryu just gave up on all of that map control, on all that aggression, and focused on just getting pure lurker out. And once he had them, he knew that he could take a fight, especially if his opponent didn't take to the skies and didn't go sky toss. Oh, GG. GG, well played. With that, Ryu moves on to the grand finals, and we are here to find out who is going to meet him there, as we have our second semi-finals underway. Oh, as I quickly just said a couple of things up here, I wasn't completely prepared. Up, beautiful, beautiful. So the teams may be a little bit wrong here, but here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Data Under the Sea. We have the Mexican Protoss player representing Team Super. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Data Under the Sea, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, also representing Team Super, as this is a team kill. It is TheZergLord. Ay. GG. Oh my god, that was an intense semi-finals, and now we have another one in a bit of another PVC. My condolences to Eon. We glossed over it, we didn't get to mention it, but the ZergLord did 2-0 Eon, knocking him out of the tournament, moving on here to the semi-finals. And here we go, the best Protoss player in all of Latin America going up against one of the best Zergs. The ZergLord has been on the rise recently, has been getting a lot of impressive results. Can he take down someone of the caliber of Pacomike? He totally can, but it's all going to come down to the conditioning of the players on the day, because any one of these could take a series, and it's pretty hard to call. Oh boy, Brazil versus Mexico, Mexico. We'll see so far pretty standard openers. Hatch gas pool from the ZergLord. Pacomike is a different Protoss player compared to Master. We saw last series, Master, every single game was trying to go for a variation of the quote-unquote hero style. Basically, triple Oracle, Stargate, triple Oracle into Blink Stalkers. You know, obviously in the second game he was much more greedy and he was taking up more, and he transitioned into Immortals faster. Game 1 he was much more heavy on Stalkers. But Pacomike isn't that kind of player. As we can see here, no Stargate. Twilight Council opener. Pacomike is a cheesier player. Pacomike is more accepting of Skytoss and more willing to still play with Skytoss despite that being a little bit out of meta. Oh, as the Overlord was not quite in position. Pacomike is much more, I think the best word is unpredictable. I think that's probably the best way to put it, where we can go into a series against Master and assume he's going to open Blink Stalkers every game with triple Oracle. With Pacomike, you cannot make that assumption. You cannot assume at all how he's going to play and how he's going to open up, because he opens with a Twilight Council straight into a Dark Shrine. So DT opener coming out from Pacomike, and it's going to be that much more imperative for the ZergLord to scout this. He does have an Overlord on the way, and he does have an Overlord here at the natural location, but because of the mistake from earlier, because this Overlord was off center, and because it's taken so much damage, the ZergLord, he can't dive in. He cannot scout with this Overlord. That's why we have a second one on the way, and this scout of the main of Pacomike is going to be late. He's not going to know what's happening. He does know one thing. He knows that it was a Stalker first. And usually, if it's Stalker first, it's not Stargate. Because, I mean, there would be no need to do that. So, the ZergLord knows that Pacomike is intentionally keeping him in the dark for a reason. What that reason is, whether it's a charge all-in, or Glaive Adepts, or DTs, it's still hard to say. The ZergLord will eventually confirm this, but is this too late? Because the first wave of DTs are on the way. Here we go. Looks like a Stalker is not in position. The Overlord is going to get in just in time. Thankfully for the ZergLord, the War Prism is still on the way. Dark Shrine has been scouted. Immediately, the ZergLord throws down Spores. Roach Warren is on the way as well. The Roach Warren, honestly, is late. Ideally, we want the Roach Warren at around the 4-minute mark, so we're not going to have Roaches to defend, but Ling Queen should be enough for the time being. He does have all of his queens in position here, looking like he was ready for any kind of Oracle to dive in, so it looks like the ZergLord should be safe. He shouldn't die to DTs, and Pacomike knows this. That's why he just immediately morphs into an Archon. So already the first stage for Pacomike didn't really quite work out here. Gonna have to use his Archons to get map control, hunt down whatever Overlords he can, maybe trade a little bit with the Queens and Lings. I'm just curious to see if he goes for Charge or Blink from here. Where is he going to utilize his gas? He already has 4 gases, hasn't taken the gases at his 3rd base. It looks like it's going to be maybe Charge. +1 is the way. No, okay, there we go. Blink. I was like, is he going to go Disruptor or Colossus here as he goes for a Robotic Spade? Just trying to get into so much tech at once. It means that Pacomike doesn't have an army. And that means that this Ling run by is going to be that much more effective. We do have an Overcharge going to be able to keep everything alive here. These Lings aren't going to do too much as a result. Meanwhile, the Archons go across the map, but they run into a Roach wall. Pacomike soon wanting to go for his Gateway Explosion. Hasn't gone for it yet, only working off of 4 gates, going into +1, Blink, going to that Robotic Spade. Disruptors are going to be coming out as well. Ideal against Roach heavy compositions. But until he really gets his Gateways up, which are on the way, he is a little bit vulnerable. I feel like the ZergLord knows that. He's going to try and go for another bit of a run by. Oh, no! Oh my god, just as the Lings rock up, the Stalker goes out of position and the Lings, they get into the main. And into the natural as well. A couple of workers are going down. It looks like maybe a couple of pylons. No, he goes for the Robotic Spade instead. He was a little bit indecisive with what he wanted. As a result, he doesn't really get anything. Oh my god. At least he confirms that it is going to be Disruptors coming out and not Colossi. Lings get a full scout of the main base before getting cleaned up. Oh, maybe getting a couple of probes. Oh my god. 1 more probe going down. 3 in total. 4 in total. With the longer flex, of course, Papi, of course. Don J in the chat. Yeah, again, this ZvP taking a very different kind of pathway here. It's gonna all come down to these Disruptor shots. We have 1 Disruptor here in the chamber. It looks like Nova's gonna go off. Luckily, the ZergLord, or thankfully, the ZergLord does back off in time, recognizing the danger. Oh, doesn't lose anything yet. Working towards Roach Raveling Bane, taking his 4th base, getting it saturated. And we'll see where this takes us. We are on Data C, a map kind of known for being difficult to break these 4 bases here. Just because of the choke points, just because of the high ground as well. Pacomike should be able to expand pretty freely, but he has to be careful when it comes to moving out. His army is looking quite formidable, but with only 2 Disruptors, like, he's got to be careful here. At any moment, if he ever gets out of position, the ZergLord is going to go for the surround. God, he wants it so bad. A couple of Biles, not quite connecting. Does have a massive Ling Roach force here towards the south. Whether he wants to go for a run by or a surround, both options are available. And it looks like, perchance, Pacomike is going to come across this army. Oh my god, and that should stop Pacomike. Oh, actually, he doesn't care, mate. He's got a mass amount of sentries. He's like, mate, let's go. Let's make this happen. Pushing on to creep. But the ZergLord is setting up the surround. Oh my god, and here we go. He's going to be able to get on top of some of these Disruptors. 1 Disruptor, 2 Disruptors going down immediately. 1 Nova does go off, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Pacomike, he saw the Southern Army. He knew about the potential for surround, and he didn't care. He chose to go for it anyway, and as a result, he loses 2 Disruptors. Another Nova's going to be going off. but every single sentry goes down. A disastrous engagement there by Pacomike. It was his decision to make, and he went for it. Meanwhile, as that was all happening, a War Prism was getting ready to go into the main, but it was pushed away because of the Ring of Spores, so he wasn't able to go for a backstab. And the ZergLord's going to be feeling pretty good about that fight, especially because now he has a Hive. Now Vipers are on the way. It's going to be that much easier to deal with Disruptors. It's going to be that much more difficult for Pacomike to zone them away. He doesn't have any High Templar. Templar Archives is only still halfway done. It's not ready. Oof. Here we go. Pacomike knows that he has to do something here. Disruptor once again exposed. The Nova's going to go off. Does find a connection, but it's going to be at the cost of its life. Oh, God. As Disruptor barely goes down, we have a couple of Banelings connecting as well, because why the hell not? Zealot Rambai does come in, but the ZergLord, with his reaction time, is able to pull away his mineral line just in time. Only a single drone going down, if that. We have a random Zealot here in the main base as well, doing what he can, but the Vipers are out. They have been revealed. Pacomike is fully aware of the Hive and the Vipers, but even though he's aware, I don't know if he can really stop it from happening. He's got some High Templar, doesn't have enough energy for feedback yet. No, sorry, he does. Okay, how good are the feedbacks going to be? Are they even going to matter? Pacomike's trying to get a 5th base up and running already. The Roach Ravager army is here. He's going to try and contest against it. Oh! Viper's taking a couple shots to the face. There are the feedbacks. Ooh. The feedbacks do zoning him away a little bit here. A couple more Disruptors coming out. The Novas are going to be just barely good enough. Good enough to stop the army, but not good enough to save the 5th. Vipers forced to back up and lick their wounds. Again, High Templar coming in clutch there. Pacomike's able to survive. Has a Hydra on the way as well. Looks like the ZergLord wants to go into Hydra Lurker Viper. Transition there eventually. Pacomike trying to reclaim his 5th base. Now would be a good opportunity for the ZergLord to try and rotate around and hit maybe the southern base. It is relatively well defended, and it's going to take time to break through. But Pacomike doesn't have any map vision. He doesn't know where the army is. Now he does. The Disruptors are coming out, no! Oh, but here come those joints. The Disruptors are trying to get a couple of shots off. And they do get one, but at the cost of their lives, all the Disruptors go down. And that's it. No more Disruptors are on the map. To be fair, what we lack in Disruptors, we make up for in Storm. And on cue, there are those Storms connecting with the Lingbane. Zealot Rambai finally going to be dealing some damage. They dive on top of the hatchery and they will get a kill. Again, no drone damage being done. The ZergLord was already taking another base, so he can just, again, rotate his workers over. But the ZergLord is being pulled apart. A Viper goes down as well. Ducks aren't going to be as ideal in this situation, but Blinding Clouds, like Vipers, they still have their uses. Well, the ZergLord tries to go for a bit of a run by. Suddenly, the pendulum has swung. Pacomike is establishing his 5th base. He's denying the 5th and 4th of the ZergLord. Uh-oh. It's not good, Papi. This is not good. The ZergLord's getting caught out. Another Viper goes down. The ZergLord is down to 1 Viper. He's trying to get Lurkers out, but he just doesn't have an economy right now. He has a bit of a bank, sure, but he's on 3 bases. And he's going to be stuck on 3 bases. The ZergLord is trying to double expand, but he just has no map control right now. Forced to cancel. And Pacomike's just going to push his way in. He has so much energy for Storm. He's transitioning into Skytoss. Stargates are on the way. Looks like Lurker should be able to buy him some time, but no, he has detection. Oh my god. Blinding Cloud going to force Pacomike back. The ZergLord still continuing to try and go for that run by. He wants to break in. But he's going to run into Storm and Charlottes. Run by does nothing. We still have Hydra Lurker, which is great. But again, we should be taking to the skies any moment here for Pacomike. We'll see if he needs it. Again, like the army that we're seeing here from Pacomike still looks like it can break through a lurker line. Not gonna lie. A lurker line though. This is more than a lurker line. I think the ZergLord is maybe watching that last series. Oh, if Ryu can make mass lurker happen, can I? We're gonna find out here. The ZergLord setting up for a massive concave. Southern base is going to go down, but it may be worth it if the ZergLord can catch the army. He wants to go for the surround. Pacomike, does he realize that? That's the question. He's being zoned away. He may have to recall. 14. No! Oh my god! 14 drones go down. They were all stuck here against the wall. And there is that recall. Pacomike knows there is no safe way out. And I feel like the ZergLord's all in. Like, he's just running out of money. He's running out of economy. He has a decent main army, and he has to make something happen with it. Meanwhile, another's out. All right, this is what I mean. Like, this base is going to fall. Like, the ZergLord, what you see is what you get. He has to win the game with these lurkers. He's slowly leapfrogging forward, but the reality is that we have carriers on the way. Pacomike, he doesn't even have to engage. He knows. He can just go for a base trade. He knows that carriers are going to defend at home. Another force cancel. There is no recall option for the ZergLord. He has to commit to the base trade. And it's a base trade that I don't know if he can win. There are a lot of lurkers on the way back at home. What is this? 10 lurkers defensively? Not bad. And they're going to defend the third, but what about the natural? Unfortunately, they're not covering the ramp. And Pacomike stutter steps his way forward into said natural base. The ZergLord takes down the fourth. He's going to rotate over and find the fifth, sure, but Pacomike doesn't care about the fifth. The carrier's puppy. We go then as the natural base of the ZergLord goes down. His main base is going to be forfeit as well. The ZergLord knocked down to one base. And he's got a lot of lurkers because he doesn't know that he needs anti-air. He hasn't seen the carriers. They haven't been revealed to him. Pacomike cleans up everything else in the main. The ZergLord still trying to make something happen here. He does have a Viper, so that he's going to have abducts available. He can maybe take down one carrier. There's more than one carrier. He's doing a great job at denying mining. Fifth base goes down. Sixth base probably gonna go down as well. Oh my god, there's no detection. Oh my god. Where did the observer go? Where was the recall? The ZergLord gets the best engagement possible. He gets all the High Templar. He gets the majority of the Immortals as well. Pacomike pulling a Paco vid a little bit here. And he could lose all these Archons as well. Paco, let's go home. The Pacomike is making this closer than it should be. Again, despite losing like the majority of his army, they carriers. As long as he has detection. The detection's with the main army. Is there a world? Yo, we get it, yoink! Oh my god. The carriers are going down. There's only 3 carriers, by the way. And Pacomike doesn't have a bank. The ZergLord is doing it. Kind of. There's not that much here. The rest of the army has to respect this. He has to respond. All the interceptors are going down. There were enough Hydras. Oh my god. What? What is happening right now? Paco. The base towards the top left is going to be going down. Stray lurker has been found at least. Okay. Thankfully, both these carriers survive. I assumed that they were going to be picked off, but they do survive. A couple more Hydras get picked off in the process. We still have 4 Storms. We have 4 High Templar. Sorry, full energy. Yeah, and this ground army is still too strong. Despite Pacomike throwing away so much supply earlier, it may not matter anyway. In a bit of a run by, Hydra then goes down. We have a couple of yoinks here on the Immortals, but it doesn't even matter. Pacomike turns around and GG gets called. The ZergLord fighting till his last, and to be fair, Pacomike almost threw. Pacomike almost did throw, so I gotta give respect to the ZergLord there for fighting his heart out, because that was close. Aye. GG, well played. And with that, Pacomike takes a lead in that series. It wasn't an easy lead, don't get me wrong. It felt like the ZergLord did kind of have control in the beginning of that game, but yeah, at a certain point, Pacomike, despite getting surrounded as well, if you recall that moment, he was able to deny those bases. He was able to take his own as well behind that, tech up. GG. Oh boy. As we are diving into game number 2. Beautiful. There we go. The countdown has begun. Yeah, what an interesting game 1. Bearing in mind that all started with a Twilight Council Dark Shrine opening that was scouted. So the DTs couldn't really do too much. And we had a pretty interesting transition from there. So it wasn't the easiest start for Pacomike, but he was able to find his place, and now we get into that game 2. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the Mexican Protoss player himself, representing Team Super and leading this series 1-0. It is Pacomike. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Inside and Out, oh my god, going for a 12 pool opener, we have the Brazilian Zerg player, also representing Team Super. It is TheZergLord. Oh my. And I don't blame him. Inside and Out is a good map for a 12 pool, just because this wall can be a little bit awkward, and there are a lot of like kind of facets to this wall to try and get it up and running. So I do like this from the ZergLord. Again, the ZergLord is one of the more aggressive players in the region, more willing to do this. Thankfully for Pacomike, he's going for a probe scout, and as long as he doesn't waste time at the natural, which he doesn't, he will confirm the 12 pool. He does confirm. He is able to, again, just great intuition here from Pacomike. Not just intuition, but also reading his opponent. He knows who he's playing against. He confirms, okay, we do have links on the way. He also sees the hatchery at home, so he knows, unless mind games are happening, he should know that the ZergLord doesn't intend to proxy hatch or anything crazy like that. Oh boy. So yeah, the wall is indeed a wall. We're chronoing out our zealots, and just like that, Pacomike, he does the first step. He's able to defend initially, but some of his buildings are exposed, and these lings are going to be able to chip away at the cyber core. Pacomike has to be careful here as he does dance with those lings. He doesn't want to get surrounded. No! Not like this. He does end up getting a little bit surrounded here. The lings, they break through the wall. The zealot is going to go down, but the kiting is looking pretty good here from Pacomike. The crisis management is not looking too bad. The boys are being pulled. Second zealot comes out, and with this second zealot and the boys, oh my god, he should be able to clean this up. There was a little bit of chaos. Did force lost mining time, so damage was done by the ZergLord, but it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Oof. Pacomike, he defends. He's able to survive the initial 12 pull. Now the ZergLord is forced to back up, drone up, get his own queens up and running. The importance of these queens are because without them, these adepts could wreak havoc and end the game. Like, there's a lot of power in these adepts, especially if they aren't respected. So the ZergLord has to make sure he has enough lings and queens to make sure they don't get out of hand. Then only 2 adepts and 1 zealot, not your typical 2 adepts and 2 zealots, so not the strongest force out here. With good enough control, the ZergLord should be able to minimize the damage and shouldn't lose too many, if any, drones. I say that as the adepts commit to the shade, and 2, 3, 4 drones go down. 5? Ugh. 5 drones for 2 adepts. Well worth it here for the ZergLord. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to pull away the workers in his main in time. And that does put the ZergLord behind. Oof. And where are we going from here? The ZergLord, he was just about to take his third. Okay, thinks better of the linear third. Goes for the triangular one instead. Gonna be a little bit active here with his legs. And Pacomike once again changing gears. Like, this is the thing about this is why you're scouting. It's this is why Ryu's scouting is so good, because he's played so much with Pacomike. Like, Pacomike, again, very unpredictable with how he plays. He does go for the Stargate opener. He has the Twilight Council behind this. We have a Forge as well. The ZergLord scouting this, it kind of looks like Blink Stalkers, but his Overlord also saw that there weren't any gases being taken at the natural yet. He should also be aware of the lack of third base, so things aren't quite lining up. Things are looking a little bit different. Safety Roach Horn is thrown down. You love to see it. He's taking additional gas. We do see him split up a couple of lings to get eyes on the third base location. I do think this is going to be some 2-base play for the time being from Pacomike. There we go. Gates are being thrown down. And hopefully the ZergLord isn't too greedy here. Definitely, there are places for drones and you can drone up. The ZergLord actually making a mass amount of lings right now. I have to wonder, as an Overlord does get picked up. I have to wonder if the ZergLord just is using these lings to take down the non-existent third base. Like, I have to wonder if that's kind of his plan here. And I say non-existent, but Pacomike is looking to expand. Oh boy, so the lings are going to be able to rock up just in time. No shield battery at the natural. Up with 2 Void Rays, the ZergLord has to think better of going towards that natural base. Going to be able to at least get a pylon. And I have to wonder if this 2-base timing is actually going to even work here for Pacomike. Charge is done, +1 is going to finish up in a couple of seconds. We still don't see any warping of those zealots. Not yet. 3 more pylons are on the way. There is that prism as well. The ZergLord, has he been able to correctly, like, identify the situation? He does have lings at both third base locations, so he knows it's still 2-base. And again, hopefully he doesn't drone up too much. I also worry if he cut workers too soon, because he's only working with 41 at the moment. He does have a decent amount of roaches, still has all those lings from earlier. Yeah, Pacomike doesn't want to push. He starts +2. He's only going to pressure a little bit here with his charge lots. And he's gonna be looking to expand. Up. There we go. Next side is thrown down. Pacomike going to be moving out across the map again. Not the most committed move out. And unfortunately, he's going to be forced to be committed because as he moves out, the ZergLord moves in. Heals third base, man. There's nothing at home to defend. Pacomike is going to be forced to cancel everything here. And now he has to make this push work. It has to end the game. Oh god, but there's so many roaches, so many queens as well. The roaches, they start to step backwards here. The zealots all get cleaned up. The archons are getting exposed. And with the death of this push, Pacomike, there is no third base. There is no follow-up plan here. I mean, he's kind of breaking through, kind of. Oh god, the archons are out of shields. And there just barely isn't enough here for this poor Pacomike. Zealots are kind of breaking through, but both Void Rays end up falling, and with the death of the Void Rays, there isn't really an anchor point here either. Zealots are kind of breaking through, and the Lynx finally come home. I was like, do we need the Lynx to come back home? Looks like we do. They get on top of the High Templar. Oof. And we're in an interesting position because on the one hand, Pacomike, he's in a terrible place because this push fell on its face. But at the same time, the worker count, like Pacomike is ahead in drones. Like that's the surprising thing. The ZergLord cut a lot of workers to make this happen. So his own economic position isn't amazing, but at the same time, like Pacomike's also just never going to take a third. There's just no world where he can ever expand like this. Yeah, there are just far too many links. With the help of all these archons, maybe Pacomike can expand. And things may slow down from here. So I assumed that the ZergLord was going to go for a big Roach Ling counterattack. But because so many roaches died in the defense, 39 roaches died by the way, it was a pretty costly defense. Oh my god, no! It was a pretty costly defense, but the wall is not a wall. A couple of Lings do slip into the main base. Thankfully, not too many. Oh god, but they're still going to get some probes. Oh, no probes actually. Oh my god. Never mind. So yeah, both players are expanding. Both players are droning, probing, getting their economies up and running. Again, if the ZergLord had more roaches left over, we would have seen a big counterattack. But because that wasn't the case, like the ZergLord, all he can do is deny the third, which he's going to be able to do it again. The Adept is going, oh no! That almost goes down. But this is ZergLord has to hide his heart out. Charged on Archon can do a surprising amount of damage. Without the charge, so the Archons are going to be quite a bit exposed, and the ZergLord can kind of turn the tables on them. But his fourth base is going to be left exposed, and Pacomike, he's going to be able to get all of these drones. Oh, far too many. 17 workers go down. The ZergLord, his economy is now crippled. I was really concerned about him cutting drones earlier, and that's really coming back to bite him here. Wow. And Pacomike, he's able to get his own third up and running. The hatchery ends up falling. He's doing it. Again, I think that the ZergLord overreacted earlier to the initial push. Overreacted without the payoff, right? The payoff would have been a counterattack, which never happened. And now his economy's in shambles. His bases are in shambles. Pacomike, I don't know how he does it. I don't know. It's crazy, puppy. It's crazy. And I love that he isn't just pressing the issue. He takes out the base, takes out the mineral line, and backs off. You know, he's like, you know what? I just need to calm down, make sure that I can get my own bases up and running, and actually get my own stack defense, shield batteries, cannons, all that good stuff. Why rush things? Why rush things? And this feels like almost a desperation move from the ZergLord, which could still work. It's what we saw how much damage Pacomike could do. Now it's the ZergLord's turn, especially when Pacomike moves out and leaves his third base exposed. Fire's gonna go down, which means there's no shield battery here to support Pacomike. Meanwhile, a couple of force fields are gonna be able to cut up the army of the ZergLord, and despite not having a shield battery, despite not having overcharge, Pacomike, his main army is just too strong. GG, good luck gets called, and Pacomike moves on to the grand finals. GG, well played. Oh my god. GG. I was really concerned, especially with the amount of times that Pacomike was forced to cancel his third, and he was just stuck on 2 bases. But it was this weird thing where even though Pacomike was stuck on 2 bases for so long, the ZergLord, his own economy was never very good either. Was actually worse than Pacomike's, which is crazy to think about. It's crazy. GG, well played. With that, Pacomike takes the victory here. He moves on to the grand finals, and Pacomike is going to be facing another Zerg player. He is going to be going up against Ryu.